meteorologist is talking about severe weather. So this is a good time to show, maybe I want to push this out to my social media platforms. So I can go ahead and let this run. And now I've created my clip just by creating a start point and an end point with your scrubbing tools. And yeah, not sure what's going over here in Beaumont, Texas, but so I've created my clip that I want to push out of the end of this forecast here, and it's going to be a native video that I'm posting out to any number of Facebook accounts that I've given permission to, and that'll go out either in real time, as soon as I post it, or I could even schedule it to go out at a specified time into the future. I can also take a particular screenshot here of any sort of still image, or if I go back to my newscast and let this roll again, I can also create an animated GIF. And so I can, create whatever resolution and speed I want to, add a meme text to this, whatever it is that I want to do. And that will, for the digital side of things, it's really shown to increase engagement because all this is showing up as native content, and will also live over here in the social dashboard, which is going to archive basically everything that you're pushing out from the Snapstream system directly either to Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. So I can see anything that's been posted, the number of likes and retweets. I can cross-post that between my platforms with the click of a button, whatever it is that I need to do. Going back over to the library here, I can also, let's say, go to something that's already been recorded here. Let's say that I want to go ahead and put these things side by side. Now, most likely this might be like, let's say, local news competitors or what have you. And now I've got my multi view set up here, which you can see is playing in a synchronized fashion, and I can really see exactly side by side what's going on in my particular market, or in the case of having a cloud sort of head-end set up, I could see a bunch of different views of what's airing in real time across the organization and all my different affiliate channels. So back to the library here, I did that overall general search. I could do a search, this just to illustrate that you can take a very broad search and kind of zero in on that in a very quick fashion. So we've got a cheat sheet with a Boolean search terminology. So obviously if I did a search for Trump, it would return me many results. If I added and immigration and legislation, or whatever it is, then it would narrow that down a little bit more. I could also jump inside of a particular show. So if I knew that, like, let's see here, if I knew that something aired on, Bloomberg Markets, as far as an advertisement went, and I was looking for whatever it is, then I could search inside of this, and it would give me each of the mentions that happen within that particular show. There might also be things that you always want to be alerted to. So, uh, something like breaking news or what have you. And you can set up my, you know, KHOU alert or whatever it is. I can send that to myself. And anywhere from weekly all the way to basically real time, any number of individuals can be notified whenever there's something that's topically relevant to them, and they'll receive that emailed information in their inbox that looks very similar to the library results that you do, except it's an automated process. A couple things that I want to touch on in the admin section. One is security. So you can configure things using Active Directory or a number of other methods that would allow you to kind of sync up your user credentials for people that are getting access to Snapstream. And then with those permission settings, you can set up any number of different groups for them to log in and sort of customize what functionality you've given them access to. Obviously, for administrators, you might have everything enabled. For a lower level employee or an intern or whoever, that it's not extremely important for them to be able to go in and make recordings or take clips or have access to social media platforms, etc. You can customize and kind of strip away the majority of that access, and when they log in, they would see a much different interface than what we're looking at right now. The other thing in admin, which is used very heavily by our media customers, is workflows, and that's exactly what it sounds like. So I can come in here and set up my workflow, and with whatever my trigger condition is, so maybe every time I create a clip and I need that to get to a particular end destination, I can then transcode that to a number of different file formats. I can set up a watch folder to export that outside of the Snapstream ecosystem. I could have things deleted after a certain period of time, add certain tagging to it so I can search for it at a later point. So this comes in really handy to have in place and in line with the workflows that you're already using, and really start that process and get it to its end destination with ease. So that's a high-level overview of the Snapstream interface. I know everybody's got a little bit different use cases, so I would love to talk with each of you individually and see where this fits in with what you're doing already. And even allow you to try it out yourself. Are there any particular topics that you might want to see a search for? A lot of it is going to also pertain to what you're recording and what you are what you have accessible in your local markets. So being based here in Houston, obviously we're going to have different coverage than you might have in Louisville or wherever it is. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to tie things up.
Thanks, Brian. Excuse me. Thank you, Brian. It was a great demo. Thanks to Rakesh and Brian for working on all of this for us. Are there any questions that anyone has that we can answer? We're here on the line. So if there's anything that you wanted to know, please feel free to just add it to the questions panel on the side of your screen. And you can ask us directly, or if it's easier, you can just shoot it through the chat window. But yeah, we're going to hang out here for just a little bit in case there are any more questions.
So there is one question here about storage. And the storage is scalable, so it really depends on what your needs are in terms of archive depth. It starts at can go anywhere from 2 TB to 30 to 40 TB depending on what your needs are. So we can kind of look at that in terms of frequency of recording, number of channels, and how long you'd like to have access to it. If it's 30, 60, 90 days, a year, what that time frame looks like.
Well, it looks like we are wrapping things up here. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar. If anybody has any further questions, feel free to reach out to Brian. And we would, love to continue any kind of conversations that you want to have offline. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.